Lennox Lewis built an explicit get-out plan before he ever needed one. When Lennox Lewis fought Vitali, I mean, watch that Vitali fight. Lennox Lewis looked really bad in that fight. And Vitali looked really good. And that fight was nearly a disaster. Lennox Lewis took a lot of punches. People say that Lennox Lewis had issues with his chin. Well, he didn't have issues with his chin on that night. He was taking all sorts of punches. Big respect to Lennox Lewis for being able to get through that night and being able to be victorious. But the interesting thing here is that Lennox Lewis retired, but more importantly, he never came back. And I know that he was lured with, massive financial incentives, but he stuck to his guns. And it's interesting because Lennox Lewis was known, particularly at the time, as like a chess player. He liked to play chess. I believe in preparation, he would play chess a lot, according to himself. And with regards to retirement, he made a calculated and effective chess move. Idea number 7, 90% of boxers Eddie Hearn manages don't earn enough money to pay tax, yet the top 1% frame the entire narrative. I think it's important to recognize here that that doesn't mean that Eddie Hearn isn't paying his fighters enough. I think Eddie Hearn's financial infrastructure reflects the rest of the boxing infrastructure. So I don't want to frame that on him. But the point is that the 1% are the ones earning the majority of the money. Therefore, the boxing, all boxers are rich, or the majority of boxers are rich, is a myth. And it's actually, is it actually hiding a secret poverty epidemic? Because if you take away the 1%, most boxers probably struggle to feed their family. Most boxers are probably poor. Do most boxers, or are most boxers able to feed themselves and their family? That's an interesting question. And do they have any type of money in investments? Do they have any type of financial portfolio after when they retire? How much financial literacy does your average boxer have? How much financial literacy does your average elite athlete have? The point here is that there's a problem within the structure. Of course, as with any meritocracy, the people that reach the top, they get paid handsomely. But for every 1%, there's 99% that are making pennies. And that seems to be grossly unfair. And it's what they call a narrative bias, a survivorship bias, to look at the 1% and think that that represents the objective truth, because that's clearly not the case. And the 8th idea is that George Groves retired, maybe not on top, but he retired at the right time, because yes, he lost, but he lost, I think it was against Callum Smith, and he realized that that was the end. And in that loss, I believe it was it the finals? I think it was a Super 6 tournament. And it was a brutal loss. I believe it was like a counter left hook and a ruthless body shot. Callum Smith was vicious that night. He was elite that night. And George Groves recognized that this was the time to leave. And of course, he achieved a lot. He had some great fights with Carl Froch. He'd won a world title. And he left. And more importantly, he never came back. Did he have the compulsion to come back? Probably. But he resisted that urge. And a lot of people can't resist that urge. And for many boxers, I mean, the question is, why do boxers come back? And I think that's an important question. And I think it's not just the adrenaline rush. For a lot of boxers, that may be one of the ways they make a living. And when you've got increasing inflation issues and increasing economic issues in the world, inevitably boxers, like other athletes, if you can make 10 grand doing a boxing match and you're struggling with money, why wouldn't you come back? If you could make 50 grand, 100 grand, why wouldn't you come back? Especially if you have a passion for it. So, it can become really difficult to manage those impulses, to manage those finances. It can become a monster.